Okay, we're back with another poker chip theory lesson. We're going to be discussing, again, triads. We're going to be discussing now minor triads. Um, Minor triads of any given scale, uh, like, for example, the major scale. Your minor triads are going to occur on the second position, the third note, and the sixth note of a major scale. Um, So that's going to be a different form than your major or primary chords. These are your non-primary chords or your minor triads. You can see here on the chart I've got laid out the first root position. Again, your chord is going to have a root, a third, and a fifth. The reason this says flat third is because to have a minor sound you simply take a major triad and flat the third, lower the third 1/2 step. And what that does is changes the structure of the triad from the major structure, which I discussed in the major triads video, which is another video, to the minor triad, which is a 3/4 in terms of half steps between the root, the third, and the fifth. So here you're going to see you have 3 half steps between, in a minor triad, you have 3 half steps between the root and the third, and 4 half steps between the third and the fifth. Again, we have the layout here. This is root position layout over here, where you have the white chip as your root, your red chip is your flat third, and your fifth is going to be the blue chip. Okay. Here next to it, you're going to have first inversion and second inversion. We'll discuss those here in a minute. Right now we're talking about this one right here. Root, third, and fifth. So, in order to form a minor triad on any given note, you simply take the root, and the root is whatever chord the letter name of the chord scale tone you're talking about. So, if you're in C major, you're gonna, like if you take your 2 chord, or your minor 2 is going to be a D chord, and you simply alternate notes of the scale. You're going to take the D, you're going to skip the E, you're going to play the F, you're going to skip the G, and you're going to play the A. And that's going to be your root, your third, and the fifth of your D minor triad, or your 3/4 form. You can see here that between D and F, you have 1, 2, 3 half steps between the root and the third, and between the third and the fifth of this triad, you're going to have, you guessed it, 4, because there's 3, 4. 4 between the third and the fifth. So up here we have between the F and the A, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that structure is the minor structure, the 3/4 structure. Okay? You can see that here. That's root position. Minor triad. And that holds true for any given note we start on. So if we want to start on a different note, let's say we want to start on the 3 chord in C major, the E chord. We're going to see the E, and we're going to have the 3/4 position, starting with E. So we count 1, 2, 3, and then 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to have E, G, B, or an E minor triad. It's real important to remember that we're talking about the minor triads, because this structure holds true for all the minor positions. The major one is different. The major one is opposite. It's 4, 3. The minor is 3, 4. Now that is very important to remember, that it's 3 between the root and the third, and 4 between the third and the fifth for minor. Okay? So these numbers are important. They matter if you're talking about a minor or a major. Okay? We're going to flip-flop now and do an inversion. Okay, so the inversion, the first inversion of a minor triad gives you the third on the bottom. Here, the third on the bottom, your red chip, your fifth chip, your blue chip, the fifth, and then your root is transposed to the top. You can see that the root is simply moved to the top. Your third is on the bottom, and your fifth is now in the middle between them. So here it's demonstrated on a graphic. We have the flat 3, and now there's going to be 4 half steps between. There's still 4 between the third and the fifth, just like here, except our root has been transposed to the top. Now there's 5 half steps between the fifth and the root. So here we know that the first inversion minor triad is 4-5 structurally in terms of half steps. So if we go over here and we take C, and we're looking for a minor triad in first inversion, it has C on the bottom in first inversion. We're going to count 4 half steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 half steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now we simply know this is going to be an A minor triad. The third is going to be C, the fifth is E, and the root is A on the top. Okay, so that's the structure of an A minor triad in first inversion. You're going to have the C, E, and A with a 4-5 structure, and that'll hold true depending on whatever note you start with. Let's do another one. Let's use the 4-5 first inversion minor on this note, the D. So we're going to have count 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, you're going to have your third, your D, your fifth is going to be an F sharp or G flat, and your root is going to be a B. So we're going to have a B minor triad in first inversion, D, F sharp, and B. 4-5. Okay, that's the minor triad with D as the third in first inversion, using that structure. And that will hold true on all the notes. So if we know, if we can memorize the structures, root position is going to be 3-4. First inversion is 4-5. Now we can talk about the second inversion, which is 5 and then 3, which is simply transposing the third, the flat third, to the top of a minor triad, right? So here you can see the blue chip, the fifth, is on the bottom, the root is in the middle, and the third is going to be on the top. The intervals are going to be 5, 3. So we can see if we have the C over here, we start on C, and we're looking for a minor triad. In second inversion, we're going to have the 5, 3. So we count 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 3. 1, 2, 3. So we know that our root is going to be C sharp, B sharp, E, F, right? Root is F. The third is going to be A flat, and your fifth is C. So C on the bottom, C, F, A flat, or an F minor triad in second inversion. And that is how you can derive your various minor triads depending on whatever note you start with. I would recommend going through and starting on each of the 12 tones or 12 chips and counting through your forms and minor root position, minor first inversion, and minor second inversion.